It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
One of the best strategies you can have is confidence. Confidence intimidates people, so don't hesitate. Otherwise, you will invite more competition in from other buyers. If you're hesitating on a $1,000 bid, another buyer could quite easily come in with a $5,000 bid instantly and blow you out of the water.
And that is Scott Perry in Melbourne this morning. Welcome back to the Real Estate Breakfast as we break down for you the Australian property market. Monday is over, 4 more days after today, and we're back into another weekend. That's the good part. Tuesday, July the 8th. Now, for buyers wanting a slice of inner city Melbourne for under $1 million, Brunswick West stands out as the hidden gem. As Domain reported, it's just 5 k's from the CBD, and it has the lowest median house price in the inner ring at $967,000. That is a full $252,000 less than neighbouring Brunswick. Units sit at a median of $451,000 with wide streets, easy tram access and local charm along Melville Road. So Brunswick West is offering some really great value to first home buyers and investors without the premium price tag. Well, let's go to Melbourne and catch up with Scott Perry from Sterling Realty. And Scott, were you surprised at that price from Brunswick West?
Absolutely, very surprised. A suburb so close to the city centre, you'd expect it to be well over $1 million, the median price.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be surprised, which is why that sort of came up on the radar. Now, you're working as an auctioneer, but I want to sort of hear a little bit of your backstory this morning, because you're from South London. You made the move, you were telling me, back in 2007, and then you were involved in a car accident. At the time, you were a motor mechanic. What happened after that saw you get into real estate?
Obviously, the accident was a bit of a surprise. I was the fittest of my life at the time, which I think helped a lot of the injuries and the recoveries afterwards. But I certainly had to rethink my life and what I was going to be doing. Bending over a bonnet wasn't going to be an option with so many lifelong injuries. I had breakfast with a friend, then went home and sat down and realised what I was doing every day, which was watching property shows. During the career consultation with them, done a quick test, and it actually did come up as either sales or management. Should have been my next move. Yeah, from there, the TAC really helped me with training to get my agent's rep. After that, got myself a job with a small independent in the local area here, and within 3 years, I had my own office and never looked back.
You know, that is a great story on so many different levels. What you missed out, because you told me off air, was you had a newborn as well. You were playing rugby, which is part of the reason why you were the fittest that you've been. That is such a curveball. There's so many things going on, having moved out to Australia, but the ability to sort of switch it up, that's what it's all about. That's what life is all about. Sometimes, you know, we've got to reinvent ourselves every 10 plus years. This was forced upon you. The fact that you were, as you say in your own words, watching a lot of property shows, bit of a no-brainer in the end.
It was. The accident was a rear ender, and it was literally the kick up the backside that I needed. I wasn't really that happy being a mechanic, and I'd always been looking for something else to do. Such a negative thing to happen to you, the best way to approach it is to look positively. So I took it as a new opportunity and an opportunity to change and try and improve. And I noticed myself change as well, my personality change. Real estate really does mould you and make you a stronger person.
You've got to be sort of mouldable, though, to sort of start off with. Some people, they get boxed in and there's no ability to change. Clearly, you had to change because of your situation. And as you say, it does sort of change the mindset, and you look at things completely different through a new lens, because that's what's basically happened. Right, let's kick on with what happened. You got into real estate. You also became an auctioneer. Do you enjoy being an auctioneer?
I do. I don't feel like we have enough auctions here in the west of Melbourne. It's definitely a big auction market on the eastern side. I was lucky enough to be coached by Phil DeFegley, and he's very good at setting you up for everyday auctions on the street where you're dealing with lots of different personalities. But the excitement of an auction is amazing, and often the results and the smiles on your vendors' faces. But I wish I could do more. It's probably a 50-50 mix at the moment.
All right, well, let's step through some of the things that people need to think about, because it's been a while since we've done this. Don't bid without a budget buffer. How important is this? Because too many buyers, they walk into a Melbourne auction with a hard limit and no fallback. And when the bidding heats up, emotions take over. Often they take over, don't they?
They absolutely do. A lot of purchases at auction are emotionally driven. But I do advise my buyers to set a firm limit and try and stick to it. The last thing I want to do is put somebody in financial strife, but it is really good advice to have a soft limit and then a hard limit and have that little contingency. An extra $5,000, $10,000 or $20,000 can easily be chewed up in a couple of bids, and it might only be that one extra bid that's required to get you into the property. So it's great advice there, Craig.
And the other one is, before auction day, have a solicitor or a conveyancer review the contract and also look at Section 32. Now, just explain what Section 32 is, particularly for Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria requires vendors to provide a statement that can be provided to the buyers. And within that statement, you would have things like the title document, outgoings, any owner's corporation regulations, and often additional certifications required in order to sell at auction. That document should be provided to all of the buyers prior so that they can get it checked out. A lot of buyers don't get it checked out and they'll go blind into an auction, sign up for things that they don't necessarily agree to. So for a very small fee, your conveyancer can often pre-check that contract and make you aware of any special conditions that may or may not have been added by a vendor. Could put you at a disadvantage. So great advice. Most conveyancers will do the check for free. So it's really good advice again, Craig.
We are talking to Scott on our Tuesday morning. When we come back, we're going to talk about understanding auction tactics. That is pretty big. And also the hidden cost of building inspections. So we'll talk about that after this.
Listen to expert perspectives with exclusive real estate conversations and supercharge your knowledge base with us.
What Melissa has highlighted there, it seems to be happening more than ever with parents buying an investment property and then renting to save their children from falling on tough times.
And it is something that's happening more, and it just goes to the point of how difficult affordability, whether it's young people trying to buy a property or in fact even these days just afford some of the rentals. And as we've seen over the last couple of years, even renting a property is becoming a challenge in some areas.
And it is a Real Estate Tuesday. We are in Victoria, in Melbourne, talking to Scott, the auctioneer. He moved out from the UK, was a mechanic, turned it all around, and is going great guns as an auctioneer in Melbourne. Now, let's talk about understanding auction tactics. Don't just show up and hope for the best, Scott. You know, go to a few auctions as a spectator. Learn the rhythm. Now, the rhythm of an auction, it's a real thing, isn't it? The rhythm.
It really is, yeah. I think on average, most of my auctions take between about 7 and 9 minutes. You know, you get the boring preamble at the start where a lot of the rules are read out and the legal stuff. But once that bidding starts, it can move very, very quickly. I've had a number of buyers turn up 5 minutes late to an auction and they've already missed it. So great idea. Go and see some others. Get your head around them first.
What about the hidden cost of building inspections? Because buyers often, I don't know why they skip the pre-auction building and pest inspections to save money. It is absolutely insane, but if you win and discover problems later, hey, it's too late. You know, it's too late to walk away at that point.
It surely is. Most building inspections cost anywhere from $500 to $1,000, and it can be the best money that you spend. I even offer for my buyers that have already conducted a building inspection to provide copies to other buyers at a reduced rate. And even with that, the buyers won't take up the opportunity to review a report and find out what's wrong with the property. It's like they want the surprise almost. But no, my advice, 100%, get yourself a building and pest inspection before any purchase. It will certainly allow you to step into that purchase with your eyes wide open.
Yeah. Another one too is one of the most common auction traps is relying too heavily on the agent's price guide. Remember, it's marketing, not a valuation. Do your own research, compare recent sales and talk to multiple agents to understand true market value. Also, bidding without a strategy. Auction day isn't the time to wing it. Decide beforehand if you'll open the bidding and how you'll respond to the competition and when to walk away. This is such a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, having a strategy can eliminate the emotion as well. Emotion is the enemy of any good decision for buyers and sellers alike. One of the best strategies you can have is confidence. Confidence intimidates people, so don't hesitate. Otherwise, you will invite more competition in from other buyers. If you're hesitating on a $1,000 bid, another buyer could quite easily come in with a $5,000 bid instantly and blow you out of the water and stop you from bidding again purely because of their speed and their aggression. And it may be that you have plenty more to spend, that other buyers intimidated you out purely with that speed and confidence.
Now, talking of confidence, you've got to let go the ego. Now, you would have noticed that when things were crazy and we had the FOMO market, you had elderly people, well, when I say elderly, you had parents buying for their children and they were saying, no, don't worry, Dad's got this. Dad has got enough money to buy this. And then Dad gets embroiled in this back and forth with another dad potentially, and they're going hammer and tong, and you're the auctioneer going, gee, this is great. I can see what's happening here. The ego has gone completely bonkers.
A buyer having a big ego is definitely a benefit for the seller, without a doubt, but it can certainly pull those emotions out and make people make that wrong decision. I often find that the buyer that turns up with the big group of friends with them, they're often the ones that are very susceptible to the ego because it looks like they're about to fail, so they'll end up bidding a lot more. So another good tip for your buyers is maybe those that are emotional, keep them away and turn up to the auction just yourself and mum and dad bank possibly by your side.
That is a really good one. I've never sort of noticed that, but that is completely right. Yes, when people do turn up with friends, it's like, yeah, let me show you, I'm going to buy this property. Lots of information there. Thank you so much for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning and also sharing your story. You turned tragedy into a bit of a triumph by, moving into this whole real estate career of yours. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Craig. All the best.
Unlock the secrets of real estate and stay informed about the latest real estate buzz with hot market trends, emerging suburbs, and hidden gems.
People jumping from certain price points because the top end of the market has come down more in Canberra than some of your entry-level areas at the moment.
Let's get to the first home buyers, because you were telling me that you're dealing with a lot of these older first home buyers. Tell us about that.
Yeah, look, we are. Not everyone, of course, but we're starting to see an increase of your first home buyers kind of in those late 20s, early kind of 30s, probably a little bit more cashed up than your typical first home buyer, looking to spend, anywhere from kind of 1 to 1.5. I've been working with a couple of first home buyers only in the last couple of weeks that are looking in those mid ones in terms of a first property, which I find, look, that would have been great if I was able to purchase at that price when I was a first home buyer, but we're finding that's quite interesting across Canberra at the moment.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.